What is it that makes a Pokemon game good? Is it the story, maybe? The music? Is it the characters? How about all three? As always, if there's something you disagree with or something I potentially missed, feel free to leave it in the comments, because I'm not perfect, and the more people contributing their thoughts, the more accurate of a picture we can gather. First, I think it's important to talk about why I personally play Pokemon. From there, we can hopefully learn a few things that will guide us towards an answer. I started playing Pokemon when I was probably around 4 years old, and Fire Red was my first game. Obviously, seeing the super cool dragon on the front of the box led me to choosing Charmander as my starter Pokemon, who would forever become my new best friend for life. From there, me and my trusty fire lizard would commence setting about everything it could see on fire and becoming arsonists. We lovingly ignored type advantages and just clicked blast burn as much as possible. By the end of the game, there were probably no grass Pokemon remaining, and I had the coolest, most imaginative team on the planet, consisting of, drumroll please, level 85 Charizard and 5 other blank spots. From this point on, I've been hooked on the franchise and haven't really looked back. So looking at the reasons I like Pokemon, I think nostalgia is a big factor. Gameplay is also probably another great reason, as my 5-year-old brain was able to understand the very basic core mechanics of the game, which really at its core are just attack until either you lose or your opponent's out of Pokemon. As a person ages up, their conceptual understanding of the Pokemon strategy does as well, but I think it's important to mention that from a baseline perspective, the gameplay is easy enough for a little baby to understand. Now that I've explored why I like Pokemon, let's branch out a bit and look at some of the core reasons people like to complain about the games. By analyzing the complaints, we can hopefully understand what people previously liked about the franchise and what would be great to have going forward. First complaint I'm going to talk about is the removal of the Battle Frontier. This was a super cool area where you could engage in a variety of fun battles and really challenge yourself as a trainer. Looking at the Battle Frontier, I think the reason why people liked it so much was that it added another level of engagement with the world of Pokemon. Players got to see that the Pokemon world wasn't just a closed-off map that they had traversed over their journey to becoming a Pokemon master. It was more. The Battle Frontier built on the lore and showed that outside the usual map, there were people in the Pokemon world who wanted to dedicate themselves to becoming the best and standing out alongside their companions that have been with them from the start. A more recent example of the complaints from fans is the removal of the National Pokédex from the newer games. In the past, players have always had the opportunity to use whatever Pokemon they've wanted from past games. By removing the feature of being able to play with old Pokemon from past save files, it felt like Game Freak was cutting us off from playing with old friends that had adventured with us for many years and we formed strong bonds with. Let's move on to another method though of trying to find what makes the Pokemon franchise so successful. We're going to look at what each individual generation is known for and hopefully find aspects from each gen that make Pokemon great. Before we continue, I would love it if you subscribed if you're enjoying the video so far. Subscribing really helps me continue to bring the best Pokemon content that I can. On with the video. The first games, Red and Blue, are known for some of their glitches, with the Missing No glitch being one of the big ones. Gen 2 games are known for the introduction of new features, such as shiny Pokemon and breeding. Gen 3 are known for their legendary Pokemon lore, the introduction of weather, and the fantastic region design. Generation 4 is considered one of the best generations and is known for its phenomenal music, including the Lake theme, Eterna Forest, Jubilife City, and Route 216. It's also known as one of the best regions in terms of lore and evil teams. The Unova games were the first time that moving sprites were introduced, adding a new dimension to the personality and feeling of realism in Pokemon. It's also probably the only Pokemon game that is known to have a fantastic storyline, while questioning core principles of the Pokemon universe, such as the ethics of owning a Pokemon. Generation 6 was a transition to 3D, and was a fairly watered down game. They did introduce the fan favorite, generational gimmick of Mega Evolutions though. Generation 7 is known for its islands, its really engaging thematic landscape, and its super long cutscenes. It also brought Z-moves to the franchise. The 8th generation brought us Dynamax. Similar to Gen 6, the general story and landscape felt fairly watered down. Finally, we have Generation 9, the current generation at the time of making this video. Gen 9 was super big on the exploration theme and had the player being part of an academy. For the first time, the player decided how they wanted to play the game. It also brought us the terrestrialization mechanic. So what have we learned? Similar to what we gained from the Battle Frontier, whether it's new mechanics, sprite movements, shiny Pokemon, or lore, it's great when Game Freak adds more development to the world of Pokemon. Other things we learned include fleshing out the environment through music or exploring concepts such as efficacy around owning living creatures is generally well received. For the final conclusion, I'll assemble a quick list of what makes Pokemon games so successful. Number 1 is companionship and the friends we've met along the way. Number 2 is world building / an engaging environment. And number 3 is nostalgia. If you enjoyed the video, I would love if you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.